Infidelity, heartbreak, insanity, murder, and a haunting? To those looking for the cliff notes, this miserable and rather curious horror story can pretty much be summed up to just that. And in that order. But not you. You like the deets. So let's put a magnifying glass up to the legends of La Llorona. Most legends are grounded somewhere in reality, passed down over time like a fear-jerking family heirloom, teaching you some lesson about morality or love, or in this case, what not to do to your children should your spouse ever cheat on you. When exactly on our timeline of history this legend took place is highly debatable. The legend is believed to be centuries old, possibly dating back to the arrival of the Spanish in Mexico. That's where you find the Spanish colonial version of this legend. There are mentions of similar wailing ghost stories even in Aztec folklore, but since we don't have a Dear Diary moment recording of the very first telling, we'll just start this story with once upon a time, very long ago, there was a lady, a dashing, beautiful woman. A woman named Maria. Maria had grace, beauty, and what some would call the perfect family. Her husband owned a successful trade business, he was a devoted husband, and his children were the pride of his life. They lived well in a gorgeous home on the banks of a bountiful lake in the heart of vibrant Mexico, where she would often sit and watch her children play on the gentle shores of the lake. She would brush her long hair, silently thanking her gods for the fortune of her deeply happy, beautiful family. At least, that was Maria's perception. As she walked through town each morning, compliments of her beauty and kindness would follow her. Townspeople practically worshipped the seemingly perfect lady of the house. But on this morning, the whispers were of a different tone. Eyes casting pitiful glances followed her. The townspeople were overly nice, and not in their usual gawky kind of way, but rather in a way that screamed, "Poor you." Maria was not ignorant of this. So she asked the flower girl, "Tell me what is going on." Again, pitiful eyes blanketed her, followed by the words, "You should ask your husband." Maria rushed back home. She went straight to her husband, the deepest, truest love of her life. She looked him in the eyes, and before she could utter a word, she saw it. The look. The one of pity and guilt and regret and sadness. She didn't need him to say it, even though he did. His words were drowned out by the sound of her own heart breaking. He was unfaithful. Worse, he explained that he would continue to be, for all the beauty in the world wouldn't override his lust for another. "I'm sorry," was all he said as he walked away. Pain and rage clouded her vision. She was screaming inside, but no words came out. A heaviness swooped over her, debilitating, but she stood tall. Sadness floored her, destroying every ounce of joy she was once filled with. As she stood there, alone, in all her grief, joyful giggles floated in from outside. "Mama, can we play in the water?" Her children, the very joy of her husband's existence, begging her to play. Muscle memory kicked in. Maria found herself blindly following her children down to the lake as she had done every day for many years. They splashed and played, and she stood blankly staring into the horizon. Everything was a blur. There was only the sound of the rage and sadness that washed over her. She felt it before she realized it. Their bodies limp in her hands as she held them under. There would be no more laughter, no more joy, no more beautiful family. Just when Maria thought she was drained of emotion over her husband's infidelity, an even deeper pain and hurt overcame her. Finally, she finds her voice, and a wail of sorrow and pain echoed through the town. Driven by jealousy and despair, she had drowned her children in a fit of rage. Overwhelmed by the guilt and sorrow of her actions, she takes her own life. But her soul would never rest. Trapped in a state of grief, her ghost is said to roam near bodies of water, mourning the children she tragically lost. This version of the La Llorona legend is the one that's been making the rounds lately, a modern twist on an ancient saga. Early renditions were all about bad omens and creepy, unexplainable events. But somewhere along the line, the chilling bit about her drowning her kids took center stage. As if that wasn't enough, as the legend was passed down, Maria would endure one more loss, that of her identity. The transformation of Maria into La Llorona is a symbolic one, rooted in her tragic actions and the subsequent haunting. When it rains, it pours. The name change marks her one-way ticket to madness and despair. La Llorona translates to the weeping woman. As guilt and grief took over her, Maria morphed from a loving mom into the tormented ghost, La Llorona. She went from a beautiful woman to a figure straight out of a nightmare. She's often described as thin, with hollow, tear-filled eyes, long hair, and pale, translucent skin. She's said to haunt bodies of water at night, her mournful cries echoing through the air, serving as a chilling reminder of her sorrowful tale. Some say that La Llorona is a vengeful spirit, seeking to claim the souls of innocent children to replace her own. Others believe that she's simply a lost soul, searching for redemption and forgiveness. Fast forward to modern day, her story seesaws in modern media, from horror movies to a cautionary tale. This legend either solicits empathy or, well, a whole range of other emotions depending on who's telling it and why. Today, this version, it's a story that has been passed down through generations right to our channel as a chilling reminder of the power of love, loss, and, well, the consequences of one's actions. Catch you on the next Things of Legends. Ciao!